Hello guys, it's Shrimp Time here, and today we got an asked video about feeding shrimps. Before we start, I need to tell you that I don't use only these 5 food sources. I have a lot larger diet, but in my opinion, those 5 foods that I use on mornings of each day are quite complete and should provide everything to your shrimps. So let's start from the first day, Monday. On Monday I use my do-it-yourself food. If you will request, I will make a video how to make this food on this channel. It's mainly based on spirulina, chlorella, spinach and kale. This is my basic food, which should provide a lot of proteins for the shrimps, a lot of vitamins for the shrimps, and as well a big amount of minerals. I think that shrimps should be fed with high protein food if you do that wisely, because it enhances the growth speed, it enhances the breeding process and the survival of young shrimplets. I do not make this food in pellets. I prefer to make a powder, and afterwards, when I use it in my tank, I mix this food with water, so I get something gluey consistency of this food. And afterwards I put this food in my tank in the amount that I know that shrimps will consume, and when and they should eat this food in about 1 to 2 hours. Thanks to not making this a dry food, my shrimps, both the adult ones and the young shrimps, get a very good availability of this food, and the particles of this food during the feeding process spread among the soil, among the place that the food is put in the tank, and those shrimps can eat it freely. And this food is quite cheap to make, so leave me a comment if you want to have the recipe for this food on this channel. I need to mention that this channel is the continuation of my Shrimp Time channel, that I mixed the knowledge both in English and Polish videos. I think that separating those videos should help grow the English channel, because a lot of you will get the Polish content on that mixed channel, ask when I will put the English content, and now I will put at once on this channel the English content, on Polish channel the Polish content. So let's go to the Tuesday, and we got quite expensive food, unfortunately, but this food has been tested for years by me, and I think that is one of very good protein food. But this food contains both plant proteins and it contains the animal proteins. So according to the manufacturer, this food contains blending color components, whatever that means, kill powder, yeast, calcium, animal protein and vegetable protein, in my opinion probably based on kale as well, and natural extracts of vitamins, minerals, etc. Unfortunately, the manufacturer of this food doesn't give us the exact components and exact amount of each of those components, and they consist of sugar, of protein, of fats, etc. but due to my experience, I can tell you that this food is very nice food, and it is a type of food which is good, in my opinion, in my philosophy of shrimp feeding. I think that you should feed shrimps in high protein food. In my opinion, those proteins should come mainly from plants. So algae and plants should be the base component of the proteins, but you need also some proteins that come from animals. I try to base my food in this manner that I will get something about 40% of protein food in their diet, at least once a day. And basing on the components of this food and basing on the way this food should work according to the manufacturer, I think that this food may be about 40 or even more percent of protein food. You can switch this food with other protein food like Dennerle protein, etc. Wednesday, my friends, we going to the Wednesday and my blue balls, and we got spinach today. Spinach is a good source of calcium and good source of vitamins for the shrimps. You can use, as I do, the dried spinach. I buy a safety food from the store, dry spinach, and I dry it in a food processor, or I use benibachi spinach as well. I think that those two solutions are good for the shrimps, and the benibachi dry spinach can be a bit expensive, so you can process your own spinach. There's a little one thing that you should remember doing that is that the place that your plants, your components of food are coming to you can differ in the components of the plants, because it's something like making a wine. You have those different types of fruits that you use to the wine, and that have different taste depending on the place that they were grown. So you get a phenomenal wine from Hungary, for example, from Italy, and you won't get this good type of wine from Poland because of the climate, because of the soil. So I think that there's something in this argumentation that this spinach from benibachi can be better, but it's a bit pricey as well, so you can process your own spinach both in a grocery store and get that spinach a lot cheaper. And I hope that you like the content of this channel. If you do, leave a thumb up, leave a subscription. I will develop this channel as best that I can. And now we're going to Thursday, and on Thursday we are using HWA, the first recipe. I got this food from my friend Bente from Shrimp Sanctuary from Singapore. I'm a bit confused with this food because if we are reading the label, it doesn't tell us anything. In general, the label says that the shrimp is everyday food for your shrimp, and it's got every essential component that shrimps need. Detail of ingredient contains amino acids, all vitamins groups, active enzymes, dietary fiber nutrients for female shrimps breeding, lactin, animal plant proteins, and etc. So as you can see, I cannot tell you a lot of the components of ingredients of this food because the manufacturer doesn't give us any information. Quite interesting thing is that this food cannot be sold legal in Poland, but you can get it both in Poland and in different types of world as well. Basing on my experience of feeding shrimps with this food for about half a year, I see a very good response of the shrimps for this food. They like to eat it, they react when I throw this food into the tank, and you need to remember, I feed my shrimps twice a day. Despite the weekend, because not every day in the weekend I can be on my farm, on the place that I breed shrimps, but they got at least 10 meals in a week, and still they react, they want to eat this food. They are interested in this food, they gather, they fight for this food. So, and I didn't see any negative action or reaction when feeding this food, so I think that it can be quite good. But I'm a bit upset that I don't get an exact line of components. Friday, my friends, going to the Friday, we got a Polish product from Qualdrop. And this product, in my opinion, is the best food from Qualdrop. And it's very similar to the food I feed on Monday. Because it's algae food, it's algae-based food. And it is made from chlorella, spirulina, macroalgae, probably kelp or some black algae, krill meal, fish, gelatin, fish meal, wheat wheat gluten, and garlic extract. So some of the components are for mainly for the pellet to stay in the way it's produced. For example, the fish gelatin and wheat meal, they are used so that we get a nice pellet, but we got a very high amount of protein. The manufacturer says it got 60% of protein, which came from both animal and plant source, because we got the algae, some types of algae, yeah, at least 3. I think that there can be more types, and we got krill wheat, and we got fish meal, yeah, krill meal and fish meal. So I think it's also a very nice food for your shrimps. We got high proteins, so you have to watch out with one thing, because when you use high protein food, you need to remember that protein is mainly made of nitrogen. Mainly, it's the wrong saying, but it's made from nitrogen. So if you will overfeed your shrimps using the protein-based food, you can destroy your tank condition. So you have to feed the amount that shrimp will eat in 1 to 2 hours. And if you got some food left, you should take it out of your tank. I try to mix this food from time to time. So, for example, I can add some food source in a week, in another week, add something else. But you need to remember that these are only 5 food types that I feed at the morning. I also feed at the evening, and I also have the constant food source in my tank. And I use for this the ketapunk leaves as one of the food source, and the second food source is lubao, which I'm making by myself. In my opinion, you should provide a constant food source for the shrimps, and these two types of products, the leaves and the lubao, provide the food for the biofilm. And the biofilm builds on the leaves, builds on the lubao, and afterwards shrimp can eat this biofilm. And in my opinion, this is the best food for the shrimps. The lubao, the leaves, the biofilm that is created on them is a best food source. You can notice that if you start a new tank and you got a lot of life in that tank, like algae, like biofilm, etc., the shrimps can ignore the normal pellet food that you provide to them, and they can eat only those natural foods, the biofilm, the algae, and afterwards they will start to eat the food that you provide to the shrimps. I hope that you liked this video. Leave a thumb up. If you want to get a recipe for a lubao, the basic recipe, because I make of lubao from many type of ingredients, write in comment lubao. If I got a lot of comments, I will make a video about that. Thank you. See you guys.